This is one of the most iconic tower complexes in the world, and General Motors' recent announcement to leave has sent shockwaves through the city. Today, I'm at the RenCen Center, once a symbol of Detroit's automotive legacy, now facing an uncertain future. GM's decision to relocate just a few blocks away has sparked all types of questions. At the same time, the company is pushing for a $1.6 billion redevelopment plan, which is asking for hundreds of millions in public funding. Critics argue that it's wrong to use taxpayer dollars to demolish a historic landmark, but the debate is far from settled, and the decisions made here will play a pivotal role on the future of both the RenCen and a city on the brink of revival. On April 15th, 2024, GM made a groundbreaking announcement. They were leaving the RenCen to relocate to a brand new facility. But why walk away now? To tell the story, let's jump back to the year 1970. Henry Ford II envisioned a massive development to revitalize Detroit's struggling economy, which was beginning to decline after its golden era as the automotive capital of the world. With enthusiastic support from the city's mayor, construction began on what would become the world's largest private development at the time, with an estimated 1971 cost of $500 million, equivalent to about $3.9 billion today. Dubbed a city within a city, the RenCen Center opened its first phase on July 1st, 1976. The complex featured 5 towers clad in 2 million square feet of glass and built using 400,000 cubic yards of concrete. The centerpiece was a cylindrical central tower housing the Detroit Plaza Hotel, which became the tallest all-hotel skyscraper in the world. The complex also boasted upscale shopping, restaurants, and the Summit, a revolving restaurant perched atop the central tower. In 1996, General Motors purchased the RenCen and relocated its global headquarters there. By 2003, GM had completed a $500 million renovation, transforming the complex into a key symbol of Detroit's hoped-for revitalization. Today, the RenCen Center is the most recognizable piece of Detroit's skyline. At its core is a 73-story, 727-foot luxury hotel, which is still the tallest all-hotel skyscraper in the Western Hemisphere. Surrounding the central tower are 4 39-story office buildings, each 522 feet tall, collectively offering 2.2 million square feet of office space and 660,000 square feet of retail. 2 additional 21-story towers, added in 1981 and acquired by GM in 2001, bring over 600,000 square feet of office and retail capacity to the complex. Tying it all together is the Winter Garden, a 5-story glass atrium that provides access to the riverfront and serves as a connective hub for the complex. Despite its prominence, the RenCen has faced mounting challenges. The suburban office market has long been a formidable competitor, and the COVID-19 pandemic delivered a crushing blow to office demand in Southeast Michigan. By early 2024, it was reported that Detroit's office vacancy rate soared to 25%, one of the highest in the country. And these factors have brought us to a pivotal moment. Before we get into why they're leaving, let's talk about where they're going. Hudson's Detroit is a $1.4 billion mixed-use development that's currently under construction in the heart of downtown Detroit. The site occupies the entire block, bounded by Woodward Ave and Farmer Street, as well as Grand River and Gratiot Avenues. It was once home to the iconic J.L. Hudson's flagship store, which was demolished in 1998 with the largest controlled implosion ever at the time. Expected to be completed in 2024, the development will feature a 685-foot skyscraper, set to become the second tallest building in both Detroit and Michigan, alongside a 14-story mid-rise building. Hudson's Detroit will include retail, office, and event spaces, as well as exhibition areas, residential units, and a hotel. Both structures will connect to a 700-space underground parking garage. Construction began in 2017, faced delays during the COVID-19 pandemic, and is expected to be completed soon. The tower topped out on April 10th, just 5 days before GM made the announcement they were moving. Under a 15-year lease, GM will occupy the top office floors of the 12-story building, adjacent to the tower that will have hotel and residential housing. There also will be a public showroom for GM on the ground floor. So naturally, we ask the question, why pick everything up and move half a mile from a building that you own to lease a space in one that you don't? GM CEO Mary Barra said the following: "We're proud to remain in the city of Detroit in a modern office building that fits the evolving needs of our workforce, right in the heart of downtown. Our new headquarters will provide collaboration areas for our teams, executive offices, and display space for our vehicles." As mentioned earlier, the working landscape is evolving, and GM's use of the RenCen Center has shifted significantly over time. In 2024, the average daily workforce in the RenCen was just 20% of what it was in 2019. Additionally, data from 2023 shows that total foot traffic, including visitors, reached only 38.5% of pre-pandemic levels in 2019. And this all fed into GM's decision. But what about the heavily contested future of the RenCen? As mentioned, GM still owns the RenCen Center, but they're not primarily a real estate company. Often when large corporations face challenges, they streamline operations to focus on their core industries. Auto manufacturing in GM's case. However, it's unclear if that's the strategy here, as GM has partnered with billionaire Dan Gilbert and his company Bedrock Detroit to consult on redevelopment plans for the complex. Interestingly, Bedrock is also the real estate firm behind Hudson's Detroit, the project I just talked about. In April, GM, Bedrock, and the city announced they would spend a year evaluating the future of the Renaissance Center, with Mary Barra stating, "We're wide open." By November, plans for a $1.6 billion redevelopment were revealed. The proposal includes the demolition of the two riverfront towers, 300 and 400. The central tower would remain a Marriott hotel, but reduce its capacity from approximately 1,200 rooms to around 850. The upper floors of the tower would be converted into 200 high-end family apartments. One of the remaining adjacent towers would be transformed into 300 to 400 residential apartments, while the other would undergo renovations to continue as office space. Additionally, there's potential for other developments like added public space and entertainment venues along the river. Demolition could begin within 2 years, with the refurbishment of the central tower and construction of the multifamily housing expected to take an additional 2.5 to 3 years. But before assuming this is a done deal, there are significant challenges. The redevelopment is estimated to cost $1.6 billion, with Gilbert's Bedrock contributing $1 billion and GM $250 million. To bridge the gap, GM and Bedrock are seeking $250 million in public subsidies from the state of Michigan and $100 million in tax increment financing from the Detroit Downtown Development Authority. Unsurprisingly, this proposal has faced considerable opposition. One Michigan House rep called it insulting for GM to request funding to demolish the iconic building as they exit. Similar sentiments have been echoed by other politicians across the state. Critics also highlight that GM received state tax credits back in 2009 to retain employees at the RenCen, though most of those employees have since been relocated to the nearby Warren office. In response to all this pushback, GM and Bedrock stated that they're prepared to demolish all 5 primary towers and cover the cost themselves if public funding isn't secured, a move some have labeled as extortion. According to the Detroit Free Press, demolishing the 5 towers would likely be the largest voluntary skyscraper demolition in world history. Such demolitions are exceedingly rare, especially for structurally sound buildings. In an attempt to alleviate concerns, GM pledged that any returns from the RenCen renovation would go toward Detroit education. However, it sounds as if this promise was made solely by GM and not echoed by Bedrock, which has a much larger financial stake in the project, although that's still only speculation at this point. While many in the public oppose even partial demolition, real estate experts generally agree that the building cannot remain as it is for its potential to be maximized. And a VP at GM said that selling the RenCen wouldn't ensure its future success, which GM is still committed to. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to this project over the next few months, as it's a highly visible topic that Detroit residents are deeply interested and invested in. Remember that my goal is to simply present the facts as best I can in under 10 minutes, allowing you to form your own opinion. And you can feel free to share that opinion in the comments below. At BuildCore, we're building America, one story at a time. With your help, the channel has grown to over 20,000 subscribers in the last year. There are so many new projects all over the country that the channel will be covering, and I'm super excited for what the future will hold. With that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.